knockout, which would match Roy Jones's knockout streak at the beginning of his professional career. Here's the tail of the tape. You see the 6-year age advantage for Vargas. Marquez weighed in 1 pound under the limit. They are similar in every other dimension, although Vargas has gained 5.5 pounds more since yesterday than is the case for Marquez. Punch stat numbers, Larry, unusual on Boxing After Dark.
Yeah, we've done this because both fighters fought Yuri Boy Campos, a quality opponent, and as you can see, Vargas throws a good enough number of punches, lands a high percentage. Marquez throws more punches, but his landing number is virtually the same. And that goes for the same with their power punches. So even though Marquez misses more, which may give Vargas more opportunity to counterpunch, he does land a lot of punches.
And of course, the fourth ringsider who will bleed in solidarity with the fighters in the ring is our unofficial scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Fernando Vargas Raul Marquez fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th, the final round. And one quick word about the small ring tonight. It's a 17-foot ring. After Riddick both fought Larry Donald and put in a small ring, the Nevada State Athletic Commission passed a regulation that it's supposed to be at least 20 feet, but this ring is built on a stage at Caesars Tahoe. You can't make it any larger, so the Nevada State Athletic Commission okayed the 17-foot small ring. Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Harold. And like Roy Jones, like Felix Trinidad, like Oscar De La Hoya, like so many other star fighters in the sport, Raul Marquez was nurtured into becoming a fighter by his father. He had a brief tour with another trainer recently, but then left him and came back to be trained once again by his father as he comes into this fight. 30 wins, 1 loss. The only loss to Yuri Boy Campos when he took a fight perhaps more rapidly after a rough fight with Keith Mullings than should have been the case for him. Closer look, Larry.
Raul Marquez actually got this fight made by finding out the telephone number of a press conference on the phone that Vargas was involved in. He challenged Vargas to the fight. Vargas took him up on it. And Oscar De La Hoya, who you have heard so much about from the mouth of Vargas, actually stepped into this a little bit by volunteering to give his house and his gym in the mountains to Marquez, and also paying his food bills. Somebody estimated that it was a gift, a very generous gift actually, from De La Hoya, worth perhaps $10,000 to $15,000.
And many suspect, of course, despite the friendship between De La Hoya and Marquez, that De La Hoya really did that because Fernando Vargas calls him out all the time, belittles him, and loves to make the claim that while he is a legitimate Mexican-American with real ties to the roots of the community, De La Hoya is not. Oscar says Fernando will never get a fight against him. Most of us expect someday it could happen if both keep winning. And Vargas has kept winning 16 times already in his career, looking for a 17th straight knockout tonight.
I once said that of all the outstanding young fighters out there, I'd probably like to buy stock in Vargas more than any other, and I have had no reason to change my mind so far. You saw a little bit of a scar along his right eye, Jim. That came from a headbutt several fights back, and it has not been surgically repaired or cosmetically repaired the way many cuts are these days.
Closer look now at ferocious Fernando Vargas.
He is trained by the father of junior lightweight champion Roberto Garcia. Longest fight has gone 7 rounds. We are 1.25 miles up, 6,200 feet. If this fight goes into the late rounds, that will be a real test for Vargas, who incidentally has his own website where he sells merchandise and communicates with his fans.
And speaking of websites, let's get ready for www.letsgetreadytorumble.com as we go up to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Caesars Tahoe on the south shore of Lake Tahoe, Nevada, Main Events and Miller Lite present 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Junior Middleweight Championship of the World. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Chairman Dr. Elias Ghanem, Commissioners Glenn Carano, Lorenzo Fertitta, Dr. Luther Mack, and Dr. James Nave. Executive Director Mark Ratner. Physicians at ringside, Dr. Joseph Heflin, Dr. Edwin Homansky, and Dr. John Wickman. Timekeepers at the bell and counting of the knockdown seconds, Steve Menzel and John Rogers. The 3 judges assigned, scoring this bout on a 10-point must system will be Bill Graham, Doug Tucker, and Steve Weisfeld. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Joe Cortez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Caesars Tahoe here in Tahoe, Nevada. Let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing gold trimmed with black and weighing in at 153 pounds. His professional record stands at 30 victories with 20 knockouts and only 1 defeat. From Houston, Texas, here is the challenger, the former junior middleweight world champion, Raul El Diamante Marquez. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing tiger and weighing in at 154 pounds. His professional record is a perfect one, consisting of 16 bouts, 16 victories, 16 knockouts. Ladies and gentlemen, from Oxnard, California, presenting the reigning and defending undefeated IBF Junior Middleweight Champion of the World, Relentless Fernando Vargas. Here we go. All right, gentlemen.
Everybody out the ring. 2 seconds only. 2 seconds. Just Joe, one thing, Joe. Go ahead. That's all we can do. Oh, they got 2 guys.
All right, Fernando.
Wait, 2 seconds only. Just one.
All right, gentlemen, we went over the rules in that dressing room. I expect a good, clean fight. You know the rules of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. I'm here to enforce them. I'm fair, but I'm firm, you understand? Give me a good, clean fight. Touch him up.
Vargas says that he can hit Marquez with his eyes closed. Marquez says that Vargas is more hype than talent. They both can't be right. That's why they're fighting.
And if you follow the stock market in the 154-pound division, then you were probably watching David Reed's performance against a fighter named Kevin Kelly last night. The reviews for Reed, not very good. Can Vargas enhance his image tonight? Well, Roy Jones, really ranking expert now on fighting mandatory challenges against southpaws, having fought 4 of them in a row. And even though Marquez stands in a southpaw stance, you've already made it clear on camera, you don't think that poses much of a puzzle for Vargas.
Not really, because as you saw in my last fight, the advantage of speed is a big difference. Vargas has much more speed than does Raul Marquez. However, Raul Marquez does have a lot of experience, and if you're not careful, the guy can time you, just as though Reggie said. Reggie was trying to time me. The southpaw is lucky enough to time him, then he can catch him. But speed should be the biggest advantage for Fernando Vargas.
Lead left hook lands for Vargas as he goes in. Larry?
Marquez is being much more deliberate than he usually is, as he promised us.
Yeah, Marquez is a guy with a history of throwing 70 to 80 punches per round, and certainly he has not come out with activity here. He's using the first round to box, try to stay away and get a look at Vargas, and Vargas is taking advantage of the inactivity of Marquez to attack.
And that left hook might have hurt Marquez a little bit because he backed up immediately after feeling it.
When Oscar De La Hoya faced the southpaw Pernell Whitaker, the left hook was eliminated as a factor in the bout. Cute southpaws can sometimes do that to you. But Vargas says, Marquez is available for my left hook. I ought to catch him whenever I want with it.
A lot of people think the left hook is the most effective blow against the southpaw.
Others go for the straight right hand, and there Vargas uses the straight right to back Marquez up.
Marquez had better do something in a hurry here to get himself into this fight. He's going to find himself out of this fight.
Hasn't landed a punch yet. Takes some straight right hands from Vargas. Backs up against the ropes. This is pretty easy work for Fernando so far.
There seemed to be a cut or something on the eyelid of Raul Marquez already.
Well, his eyes took a monstrous beating against both Keith Mullings and Yuri Boy Campos in 1997. Both eyes were cut and bled badly in the fight in which Marquez got a decision, a close one over Mullings, and then both eyes swelled shut in his loss to Campos.
There definitely is a cut below the right eye of Marquez.
Actually, I think it's the eyelid bleeding.
I still don't think Marquez has landed a punch in the round.
I don't either, Jim.
Getting credit for one landed punch from CompuBox and taking a lot of leather. Our translator for Spanish speakers in both corners is Ray Torres.
That's okay, Ray. That's okay,
This is yours now. Very calm. You gotta calculate them. You gotta be the lead there. You got the punch, use it. You gotta calculate it. It's never gonna beat you.
There's a good solid left hook by Vargas early in the round, and you saw that Marquez does have a cut on his left eyelid.
So cutman Chuck Bodak will be charged with the responsibility of trying to keep the cut from bothering Marquez too much. You see that Harold Letterman scored the first round 10-8, though there were no knockdowns, a mark of how one-sided it was by CompuBox numbers. Fernando Vargas landed 20 power shots, and Marquez landed 1 of 20 total punches. Marquez has to try to do more in round 2, and he lands a right hand against Vargas.
He's afraid to throw much, Jim, because he's afraid of Vargas' speed. He's afraid that every time he sticks his hands out, he may get caught with a big, quick punch. It's not going to help him to stand back and not do nothing, though. He needs to go ahead and push the issue if he wants to get into this fight.
You know what I love about Vargas' speed, Roy? It's precise, carefully measured speed. There's no wasted motion in there. He uses it when he needs it. Right hand up the pipe.
So this is just target practice for Vargas right now. Another thing is that when you go out to fight a champion, you can't wait on the champion. You have to beat the champion to take the title.
You know, part of what may be going on here is Marquez may feel that he would best be suited for a long fight. He's fought many fights that have gone 10, 12 rounds, and Vargas has never gone beyond 7. But still, you can get beat up so badly in the first half of the fight that you're no good in the second half.
Which he has a history of.
Vargas leaning away and then landing a counter right hand shot. Marquez got in one left before Vargas came off the ropes with an uppercut of his own. And now Vargas lands a right hand to the body and begins to look back upstairs. Another sparse landing round for Marquez. After landing 1 punch in the first round, he's been given credit for 3 so far in this round. So Marquez finding it hard to get on the scoreboard, and Vargas taking his time, having it much his way, and hurting Marquez with power punches. Oh, he's got him going again, Roy.
Yeah, it looks like the eye is starting to shut a little bit. Marquez should be firing back immediately. Right after Vargas finishes his attack, Marquez should go back and try to attack Vargas, because Vargas stops to get a breather, you get himself back together, then he's ready for whatever Raul Marquez comes with.
That punch landed squarely.
Time.
Don't just stand there. Move around. Walking. You gotta walk him. Always throwing your jabs. Be careful with the right hand. He's cut already. All you gotta do is just keep marking your punches. When he comes in close to you, get a distance and throw your right hand.
You've seen the new do that Vargas wears. Here's his son. He also has it, streaked with blonde. My wife tells me this is called tipping in the beauty parlor. There's a brother with the same kind of hairdo, and they've got, it seems like, hundreds, if not thousands, of camp followers with the same do. Marquez, one of the things Marquez said before the fight is that he's very eager to find out what Fernando Vargas is all about. I'm not sure if he's as eager to find out what he has found out so far.
Maybe he means that he's going to push him for a little while and go into that long fight, like you said, and find out does he have the heart to endure as the rounds get longer.
Let's go.
Well, certainly that was one of the many things Marquez said about how he would prove Vargas isn't as good as people think Vargas is. Marquez also had it in his head that Yori Boy Campos could have done better against Vargas if he had been more committed to the task. But I'm afraid what put Campos out against Vargas was hard punches with both fists. And that's what's happening again tonight. And while it may be hard to tell for sure against a fighter as unfortunately and inept as Marquez has been in the first couple of rounds, Vargas's defense may be getting a little better. Fighters like Anthony Stevens and Darren Mashinsky said that Vargas wasn't all that hard to hit, but Campos couldn't find him much, and Marquez hadn't found him at all. Good straight right hand by Vargas, a miss over the top by Marquez. Body shot by Vargas. Wouldn't mind seeing a little more body work. Straight left hand right up the middle.
Marquez still has to be more aggressive. He's not making Vargas use much energy like this. If he's planning on winning the fight by just expecting Vargas to wear down, walking around, he's going to find it very hard to do that.
Marquez managing to find a way to land his jab a couple times.
And then he landed that left hook as well. So
he's starting to get into it a little bit.
Yeah, once he makes Vargas commit, then he may land some punches. But letting Vargas just stand still is not going to get anything done for him.
So he's got to turn him and move him a little bit, huh?
And he's got to make Vargas punch. That's the only chance he's probably going to have at hitting Vargas.
And the trouble with that, of course, is Vargas hadn't been missing much.
No, he hasn't. But you got to get some sometimes.
Well, that's the kind of fighter Marquez has been in the past.
The thing about it, though, if he's going to give some, he needs to make sure he gets some, too.
Marquez told us, I'm not afraid of contact. Seeing blood makes me fight better.
And I believe that.
We got to put a little more pressure on him. You got to pressure him. I'm watching him, and you need to put some more pressure. You take some air in, relax.
No problem, baby, no problem. Spray bottle. Come on, okay. Put one of those I got it. Okay. Yeah.
You understand, son? You got to keep after him.
I got it. Set your right eye. Relax. Relax. Close your eyes. Deep breath.
You need this opportunity. This is a great shot for you.
You know, there was also some late money that came in on Marquez. This fight was about 11-1 this morning. The last time I looked at the legal bookmakers here, it had gone down to about 6-1 in favor of Vargas.
Harold, how do you have it through 3?
3-0, 30-26. You had to give Fernando Vargas a 10-8 round that first round. I mean, he won it so big, he just pounded Raul Marquez. Yeah, you talk about defense. Fernando Vargas, his elbows up hard, in tight, his hands up high, doesn't get hit much. Terrific defense and great ring generalship. He hits Marquez, steps to the side.
Marquez eating straight right hands in the first half minute of this round. Vargas off to another strong start.
Vargas needs to make sure he moves his head after he punches, though. He can't stay standing straight up right there. He's going to get caught.
Pulled his head straight back there. Not regarded as a good tactic, but he got away with it. Some of the greats can get away with that. Roy Jones has been known to do it from time to time, but you better have excellent speed. Digging the right hand to the body, Vargas, and then the straight left hand upstairs. Marquez starting to get a little bit more active.
I like the fact that Vargas is still throwing body shots, too.
I think he ought to throw more. To me, he dramatically enhances his chances of finishing Raul Marquez if he'll hurt him to the body and drop his hands a little bit. Solid shot by Vargas.
Good 2 punches by Raul Marquez.
Another straight right hand lands for Vargas. Marquez looking for an opportunity to get back. Couldn't get a punch off.
Like he said, he doesn't care about getting hit. That's a good thing for him. He has to make sure that he lands punches also. A lot of people don't realize that it takes just as much out of you to catch punches as it does to throw them.
The men who work with Fernando Vargas, Lou Duva, Ronnie Shields, Roger Bloodworth, who really does most of the day-to-day gym work, looking for more head movement from Fernando, and I think they're getting it here tonight.
Now, wait a minute, Roy. It may take as much energy, but you don't want to say that throwing a punch is the same as catching a punch.
No. What I'm saying is, by standing there catching punches, you're also wearing yourself down while your opponent is wearing himself down. While your opponent is wearing himself down.
If he's gone wild and crazy. Because from what I'm seeing here, Vargas is still very measured. He's not gotten crazy. Not throwing too many punches, but fighting within himself.
And this is true. But I'm saying Raul Marquez is taking punches, expecting to tire Vargas out. He's going to tire himself out worse than Vargas is.
I agree with that.
That was a beautiful round. Be comfortable in there.
That ring guard girl, or a round card girl, is Bernice Matuni, a model, actress, and banker from here in the Lake Tahoe area. Part of the 3 blonde team of round card girls who are working here at Caesars tonight. One of the special attractions we provide you on Boxing After Dark.
Boxing beautiful, buddy. Speaking about banking, Vargas has been banking on that right hand. And here he shoots it straight through the guard of Marquez.
Large swelling spot under the left eye of Marquez. That's the same eye that has a cut above it. And Marquez's eyes, as we told you, swelled shut as December 1997 bout against Glory Campus. And now he takes another right and a left from Vargas.
And his left eye and his right eye now is cut as well, Jim. Marquez's right eye is split as well.
Cut right at the corner from that left hand shot by Vargas.
I think Marquez gambled with a big right hook there and it cost him.
Come on, let's go.
Referee Joe Cortez has done a heck of a job of staying out of the action. Marquez complained to us yesterday that Vargas holds and thumbs with his glove. We haven't seen any of that. Little rally there by Marquez, and he lands a left cross across the chin of Vargas. Marquez insists, and told many people before the bout, that he knows for sure that a Cuban fighter named Ibarra knocked Vargas cold in the gym in Miami a couple of years ago. Vargas laughed it off and said, of course, that isn't the case. But Marquez said it was a right hook with a southpaw doing the damage, and I'm going to do the same thing. He hasn't landed a big right hook, but he did land another left cross a moment ago.
And he tried a big right hook at the beginning of this round that cost him that cut over his left eye, over his right eye.
Yep. Vargas just hunting and pecking against Marquez, who's now bleeding from both eyes and swelling around both eyes.
Raul Marquez seems to be getting to Vargas a little bit more now in these later rounds, and this could be his plan, Jim.
Well, like many, he said he doesn't believe Vargas can go 12 rounds. That's probably the biggest criticism Fernando faces, given the fact that he's never been beyond 7. The question now is, how long can Marquez last with the increasing damage to his face? We told you about the history for Marquez's eyes, most notably September 13, 1997, his title defense in Las Vegas against a then relatively unknown Keith Mullings. And Mullings did so much damage to both of Marquez's eyes that many at ringside believed that Mullings should have deserved a decision in the fight. Marquez wound up getting the call. In less than 3 months later, came back for big money against Yori Boy Campos, and Campos produced massive swelling around both eyes, as you saw. Here's the way Marquez looks tonight. Not that terribly different than...
It's only a table knife, but you could kill a pilot with a table knife.
A half ago.
Both sides of his cheek.
Fight intelligent now. Going forward, throwing fast punches.
Round 5 was Raul Marquez's best round by far. You saw the rally at the end of the round. It helped him to wind up landing 19 punches. Still, Vargas was 27 of 48. And Harold Letterman has not given a cart. And there is a low blow for which Joe Cortez is going to give Vargas a timeout. And Fernando is in extreme pain. Harold, Vargas gets 5 minutes, right?
As up to 5 minutes. He's got to continue. He can't say I can't continue. In other words, he can't win on a foul. But referee Joe Cortez did take a point away from Raul Marquez for an accidental low blow. Fernando Vargas doesn't have to get up. He can stay on his knees, whatever he wants to do. He can rest up to 5 minutes.
There was the low blow.
Much to his credit, though, Fernando Vargas did pull Raul Marquez's head down to cause that punch to go a lot lower than it normally would have.
All right, let's take a look at this.
See, he has his head down right there.
Exactly right, Roy. I question whether that should have been a penalty of a point. There hadn't been any other low blows or fouls up to now.
And I guess Cortez issued the penalty because of the severity of the low blow and its effect.
Strictly a judgment call, Jim. Referee Joe Cortez just felt it was, you know, a low blow was hard, did a lot of damage, took a point away from Raul Marquez.
But we saw that Vargas contributed to it, so we get the second guess.
All right, Roy, how dangerous is this for Vargas? How often might a fighter lose his rhythm, lose his confidence in the middle of the fight as the result of suffering a low blow like that?
I don't think it'll break his rhythm nor his confidence. If anything, I think Raul Marquez was starting to get to him a little bit more, and it may break Raul Marquez's rhythm because it gave Vargas a chance to recuperate.
Round 6 of the scheduled 12.
You notice there were no apologies.
I don't think we could expect no apologies.
Well, yesterday, Raul Marquez said to us, number one, I hope it's a clean fight. Number two, if I feel like I have to, I'll foul him. Now, I think that Roy Jones is right on target in saying that it was largely because of the position of Marquez's head that the punch went where it went.
And this happens a lot when a southpaw orthodox fighter fights.
And Marquez is getting more active and more accurate against Vargas. And but Vargas lands a body punch and then takes a left cross. Best punch of the fight for Raul Marquez.
And what I've seen now in Vargas for the first time is the anger we talked about before. The low blow has set him off a little bit, Roy.
Yes, it did. He better come back down and get himself back together before he finds himself on the canvas.
He's still landing punches, but not with the same effect. And these are more awkward arm punches than the earlier punches, which were within his tight envelope.
Now he's fighting like he's supposed to be fighting, though. Give credit to Marquez, though. He's throwing some very good punches here, too, Jeff.
Now, Marquez is coming back in the fight. He's doing much better now than was the case in the first 2 rounds when he just really wasn't there at all.
I don't know if you've ever had a low blow that stopped you like that, Roy, but does a fighter fully recover from that?
Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't.
Have you had one that bad?
No, I don't think I would let one get to me that bad because, number one, anything that happens to me in the fight doesn't really bother me because my mind is too powerful.
Straight right hand by Vargas knocked the mouthpiece out of Marquez's mouth. Joe Cortez holding the mouthpiece now. He won't give the mouthpiece back until there's a logical stoppage in action, and now Cortez chooses that moment. It was Vargas's mouthpiece. Vargas lost his mouthpiece when he was hurt briefly against Yori Boy Campos in the 5th round. Now he loses the mouthpiece here, but he was the one who was doing the damage at the moment that the mouthpiece dropped out. Body shot by Vargas. An eventful 6th round. Stoppage due to a low blow. Stoppage due to a fallen mouthpiece. And Vargas showing his fury and trying to come back against a resurgent Marquez.
Well, that was very good what we just saw Vargas did. He threw a 4 or 5 punch combination, got his work done, stepped back, didn't give Marquez a chance to retaliate.
And even if it was another of Marquez's better rounds, he had the deduction of a point against Marquez for the low blow.
You don't have to worry. Your mind should be clear. Everything should be okay.
Tranquilo. Tranquilo, Fernando. Su mente tranquila.
I got it. Watch your side. Yeah, all right, and be careful. I took a point for a low blow. I'm not tolerating all this nonsense. I know. Okay. No problem. That's your right eye, baby.
There you see the good left hand by Marquez, once again from a different angle. And now we'll see if the mouthpiece spits out. With that little light jab, somehow Vargas lost his mouthpiece. But he may not have lost a round up until now.
Numerically, round 6 was the closest round of the fight. Vargas landing 19 of 47, Marquez landing 19 of 48. But again, the penalty deduction may have ensured that Vargas keeps his margin growing in the fight. Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Jamal gave round 6 to Raul Marquez. I thought he was a little bit more effective and certainly a little bit more aggressive. But, you know, even though he won the round, it becomes 9-9. You know, it's 10 points, -1 for the low blow. So it becomes 9-9. I've got it 59-53. 5 rounds for Fernando Vargas, 1 round even. So Fernando Vargas with a big 6-point lead. Raul Marquez is really going to have to come out to get back into this fight. So far, it's all Fernando Vargas.
Now, if the bell sounds to end this round and the fight is still going, this will be the longest excursion of Fernando Vargas's professional career. Marquez, for his part, has gone past the 7th round 13 times in his 31 fights.
Vargas is fighting a very patient fight here. He's using his head, he's picking his shots, and this is what you like to see a youngster do. You don't want to see him go out there and try to overpower this guy, because Raul Marquez does have experience, and you can't just walk over him.
Come on, guys, big up, big up, big up, come on. We'll be holding this side.
Marquez with an uppercut after the straight right hand by Vargas. Marquez rapidly becoming the more active fighter, but Vargas continues to punch up the middle with accuracy. And yes, the good right hand body shot.
Excellent body shot by Vargas. Those are the type of punches that need to be landed in a long fight.
Would it be good for Fernando at this stage of his career to have to go 12 rounds?
Yes, it would be, because it would show him and give him the confidence that he can do it against a worthy fighter. Raul Marquez is a very noteworthy fighter.
Now, since you started your pro career with 17 knockouts in a row, Roy, do you have any small vested interest in seeing Vargas' streak stop at 16?
Not really.
Were all those fights at 54, or were you fighting at 60 by the 17th?
I was fighting at 60 by the 17th.
That's right. This is the weight class in which Roy Jones began his professional career.
And I expect that before he's done, ferocious Fernando Vargas, as he calls himself, will be a full-fledged middleweight.
Most definitely.
Although probably never a light heavyweight, as Roy Jones is, unless he fights for a long, long time.
That was a beautiful round. He hasn't won a round yet. You're ahead all the rounds. Take some air in. Nice and calm, nice and serene. You're working beautifully.
Nice and easy. I got it. Good ball, you talk. Lean back, close your eye. I move that.
Raul, how are you feeling? You gotta throw that left hand. You gotta throw it up and down.
That's Marquez's dad, Arturo Marquez, advising his son to throw more left hands and to throw it up and down. And there's Vargas starting the round with a big punch.
Yeah, that right hand hurt Marquez. His eyes shut closed real tight after that punch.
You know, the question now is, does Marquez really want to win this fight? Is he willing to take the risks to try to make something happen? Or is he going to be satisfied to go 12?
And it's now the longest fight of Vargas' pro career. Campos indicated after the 7th round that he didn't want any more.
I don't think that is quite a landmark as landing on the moon, Tim.
Yes, but I'm not calling a moon landing today. I got to work with what I've got, you know?
Point well taken.
Vargas has taken so much out of Raul Marquez now until I don't even know if Raul Marquez can land a big enough punch to hurt Vargas at this point.
I don't know if he has a big enough punch even when he's fresh. He's not a big puncher, Roy. Never has been.
He's doing a pretty decent job of taking Vargas's artillery. But I guess, of course, he finished the fights against Mullings and Campos on his feet as well, despite all of the damage that was done.
Well, he has a big heart now.
No question.
Without a doubt.
Raised to fight, loves to fight. Left-right combination by Vargas, who has gotten sharp again after wandering just a little bit in the middle rounds.
I think this is just clockwork for Vargas now.
For the most part, this is an excellent boxing performance by 21-year-old Fernando Vargas. Roy Jones told you before the fight, one big thing to look for, could Vargas be patient if Marquez did something to try to rattle him? And for the most part there, I think the answer is yes. Vargas supporters behind us chanting for their man.
Yeah, the truth is that Vargas hasn't even given his own fans much to cheer about. This has become almost like a sparring session. It's a very workmanlike, credible performance, but not the kind of dynamic performance they're used to from him.
Yeah, but that's what you get usually when you fight a southpaw.
Tell us about it.
Oh, great combination. Great combination. Right to the body. Right upstairs. Two lefts upstairs. Vargas hammering Marquez as the 8th round comes to a close.
And there he gave his fans something to cheer about.
That was brilliant. Well, earlier tonight, you had the heavyweight battle between David Tua and Gary Bell. This one ended in 79 seconds of Tua fury. During those 79 seconds, that headbutt produced a huge cut over Gary Bell's left eye. But that was not the decisive factor in the fight. Instead, it was the left hooks and then eventually the right crosses of David Tua that made the difference. Bell so conscious of guarding against the left hooks that, as Roy Jones told you, he completely forgot to guard against right hands, and Tua simply pounded Bell out of there with the right to get a TKO and a spectacular win.
Yeah, Jim and Roy, the one thing I've noticed about David Tua recently is he's more of a two-handed puncher than he was a couple of years ago. That right hand now is a weapon and has to be regarded.
And that is a weapon that he definitely will need to become heavyweight champion.
Vargas in the 8th round landed 35 of 51 punches. That's 70%. 26 of 36 power shots. And you suspect that it's getting more and more difficult for Raul Marquez to see the punches coming.
Yes, because those eyes have taken a battering tonight.
Vargas taking his time and simply trying to pinpoint the target with his power shots. Marquez beginning to lunge and reach just a little bit more, surely well aware that he's behind in the fight.
Hold it clean. Hold it clean. There you go. Let's go.
Raul Marquez has always been an overachiever in boxing. He was raised from his youth by his father to be a boxer. He's a diligent trainer, great courage, will fight you to the last ounce of blood, the last breath of air. He's never had great skills. And now we're watching a fighter with skills expose that.
Sometimes guys look at a guy like Fernando Vargas and think because they never seen him have a hard time or they never seen him struggle in a fight that he's never been tested or he can't fight.
In fact, that's what you hear virtually every time you see a guy like Vargas fight. Yeah. You know, we heard it about you, we heard it about Oscar throughout the development of his career. Particularly veteran fighters like Marquez, they come in and they say, well, this kid hasn't really been tested. Then they discover there's a reason he hasn't been tested. He's too good.
There you go.
Is there anything more Vargas can do than he's done so far to make this a sensational victory rather than an overwhelming, dominant victory?
Yeah, if he goes to the body a little bit more, he could knock Raul Marquez out.
Concur. Not enough body punishment. That would be about the only low mark you could give to Vargas.
Yeah, but he's looked excellent, and whatever's working for you, I think you should stick to.
Big left hand upstairs by Marquez.
This is working for Vargas. He should stick to doing just this.
Vargas shook it off.
What is it that George Benton, the trainer, used to say? Win tonight, you'll look great the next time.
Right.
He's looking pretty good right now.
And he's looking very good right now.
All this is working perfect for him. He shouldn't change it.
One thing we've learned about Vargas tonight, by the 9th round, the blonde locks droop over into his face.
Yeah.
Here's a timeout and another chance for Vargas to replace his mouthpiece.
That was a beautiful round that you boxed. You boxed him beautifully like you're doing. Take some air in. Don't get overconfident. You don't have to get overconfident because you have to be quick all the time.
Just listen, just listen. Tienes que ganarle por marcador. Okay. Tienes que arrimarte a tu distancia.
You gotta get your distance and you gotta use your jab.
Here we see Vargas throwing a very good combination. Lesser fighter than Marquez. Wouldn't be here anymore after this type of action. Right now, you just hope Marquez doesn't get embarrassed or beaten up too much by the end of this fight.
Right now, you hope that Marquez leaves the fight without permanent damage to his eyes. Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 9?
Larry, Jim, I've got it 89 to 80. 8 rounds for Fernando Vargas, 1 round even. I've got Fernando Vargas winning this fight huge. I think that he's gone to an offense that basically is all straight right-hand leads. I mean, he's killing him with that right-hand lead. Watch Vargas, he constantly throws that right-hand lead, and he can't miss Raul Marquez. And on clean punching, you got to like Fernando Vargas big.
Marquez landed a little right hook inside. Marquez landing one of his more effective blows in a while. And Roy Jones, you were watching Marquez's corner very closely between rounds. What do you see?
Well, it's just when you see a guy go back to the corner the way he did, he's almost insinuating that it's getting rough in here now. I think he's starting to hurt him a little bit more than it was earlier in the round. He's not going to quit, though, because he's a guy with a big heart, but you have to be very careful at this point that his heart doesn't cause him permanent damage over the long haul.
Vargas landing an uppercut and another straight right hand. Marquez keeps coming, trying to find some way to turn things around, trying to land one big punch that would put Vargas in a vulnerable position. But as Larry pointed out to you earlier, Marquez has never been seen as a huge puncher in his career. And Vargas is handling what he throws at him pretty well. And Vargas landing power shots as he has consistently throughout the bout. Nice feint with the left, straight right hand landed flush.
Anything he wants to do, he can do now because he has Marquez slowed down so much until he can see everything Marquez is doing. He can see it coming.
Mouthpiece flies out of Marquez's mouth this time after the solid left hand shot by Vargas. Oh, it's Vargas again?
Yeah.
So in other words, he's got a habit of dropping his mouthpiece while he throws punches.
That's the only weakness I've seen in him tonight.
That and the way the forelock flops over. Marquez fans booing Vargas for losing the mouthpiece. That is the 3rd time in the fight that he's lost the mouthpiece.
Good right hand.
Harold, you got a comment on this mouthpiece thing?
Yeah, Jim. The rule on losing the mouthpiece is the referee is supposed to put it back during a lull in the action. Now, I want to tell you something. If I were Joe Cortez, I would have hung on to the mouthpiece until the end of the round. I mean, it is a lull in the action. If Vargas loses it enough times, Cortez can take away 1 point.
One-sided punch stat numbers through round 10.
Okay, we need to knock him out. We need to do something. You get your distance, but make sure you throw punches. Don't expend any energy when he holds you, when he grabs you. You maintain your fight and maintain it with intelligence. You're doing so good.
3 rounds. Let's go. 3 rounds, guys.
The 11th round of the scheduled 12. Fernando Vargas, 21-year-old world titleist, has never gone the distance in his career. Trying to get a 17th consecutive knockout to start his pro career, which would equal the streaks established by such fighters as Roy Jones Jr. and Thomas Hitman Hearns. Tyson had 19. The record, 29 KOs at the start of a career by Alphonse Zamora. John the Beast Mugabe, second on the list with 25. But Vargas' streak may be headed toward an end here, and his handlers may love to see it. Because one of the questions about him has been, can he go the distance and win a decision? And he certainly appears well on his way to accomplishing that here.
He's boxing very brilliantly tonight. I like what I saw in him. I like his poise. I like his patience. I like his decision making. I like everything I saw about Fernando Vargas.
So how do you compare Vargas tonight to what you saw from David Reed last night?
Well, you still have to rate the fact that they fought two very different type opponents. Vargas had an opponent who was very easy for him to hit. David Reed had a guy who was much more difficult to be able to hit.
I think you're exactly right, Roy. There are some fighters you can't take out because they're hoping to win rather than trying to win. Some fighters you can't take out because they take a punch so well.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, and how well will Marquez take these punches? Raul Marquez has never been knocked down, and he may never have been in this much trouble either. And Vargas trying to finish him right now. The streak has a chance to stay alive, and it does. 17 knockouts in a row for ferocious Fernando Vargas. Too many power punches.
Much too many.
If you are patient, it will come.
And he was patient.
Well, as I said before, Raul Marquez said he wanted to find out what Vargas was all about. He found out.
Next question.
He's a fighter.
So after landing power shot after power shot for 10 rounds against a Raul Marquez who appeared capable at least of finishing the fight despite all the damage he was sustaining, Fernando Vargas finally landed the kind of artillery in round 11 that made it necessary for Joe Cortez to stop the fight. Let's look again, Roy.
An accumulation of punches finally wore Marquez down. That's what I was telling you when I said it seemed as though he was starting to weaken a little bit, like he wasn't taking the punches as well, like he was starting to hurt a little bit more. You can expect that, you know. Anytime you see things like that starting happening, you know it's just about signifying the end.
And Vargas going about his business with left and right-hand shots. Maybe if he'd gone to the body more intensively in the early and middle rounds, this could have happened earlier. But there's very little to criticize overall in this knockout performance by the knockout star of the 154-pound division. Vargas, go ahead.
Like I said earlier, if something is working, don't go away from it. I know we want to see more body punching, but if the head punches are working and they're keeping the guy off of you and keeping you ahead in the fight, then you continue to do what works.
Which is another way of saying that there's practically nothing to criticize in this performance.
No, it's not, because he took the opportunity to go to the body when he saw the opportunity.
Well said. Vargas closed the show, landing 20 of his last 36 power shots. That right cross, that left-hand shot. What could Cortez do? He had no choice but to step in and stop. And you saw there, Vargas was getting ready to go to the body at the end before Cortez stopped it. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Joe Cortez steps in and calls a halt to this bout. The official time, 2 minutes even. 2 minutes even into round number 11 for the winner, who in his 17th bout has recorded his 17th victory, his 17th by knockout, and he is still the undefeated IBF junior middleweight champion of the world, Relentless Fernando Vargas.
Vargas shouting past the ear of his son, Fernando Jr., who seems largely nonplussed. Final punch stat numbers, enormously one-sided. In fact, the last time you saw punch stat numbers this one-sided, Roy Jones was fighting Reggie Johnson June 5 in Biloxi, Mississippi. A virtual carbon copy of those numbers as Vargas landed at a 53% rate. And power punches make the case even more clearly, although Marquez was able to land more consistently with his power shots than was the case with his jab. Vargas dominating the fight, 208 out of 378 on his hooks, his crosses, and his uppercuts. Let's go to Larry Merchant in the ring with the champ.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations, Fernando. Well, you said you'd like to go 12 rounds sometime, but somehow it doesn't work out.
You know, I'm ready. I almost went 12 rounds. I hope you guys are satisfied, the media is satisfied. You know, the sports writers are satisfied that Fernando Vargas, what's Fernando going to do when he gets past the 7th round? Well, you know, I'm always ready to go 12 rounds. It just hasn't happened. And I would like to send a shout out to the big Oxnard area code 805, baby, La Colonia Boxing Gym. We'll be back tomorrow, baby.
Everyone was concerned whether you would lose your poise because of all the back and forth and mouthing off before the fight, and you would attack them too recklessly. Did you have to fight yourself to retain that poise?
I mean, I always fight with a controlled anger anyways. You know, Raul Marquez said a lot of things, disrespected me, said that I was all hype, and a little bit of talent. Well, so much for a lot of hype and a little bit of talent.
All right, we understand now that you have a plan. There's a long-range plan for you to fight David Reed, perhaps sometimes mid-year next year after a few more fights. What are your thoughts about David Reed? What are your thoughts about those plans?
I think David Reed's a great fighter, a very good guy. I like David Reed. But, you know, he's a champion too. And I just want to be the best champion at this division. And to do that, I got to fight fighters like David Reed. So it's nothing personal. I like David Reed a lot. We hung out together. But this is a business, and he got something I want, and I know I got something that he wants. But we got to see who's going to be able to take it home.
So you're saying that the other guy doesn't have to get under your skin for you to come out and be your best?
No, none whatsoever. I mean, I get up for fighters like this. I get up for fighters like Yuri Boy Campos, which is a great champion. I get up for fighters like Raul Marquez. And, you know, I'm just happy with my performance. I know that everybody wanted to know if Fernando Vargas can go 12 rounds. Now you guys saw.
Well, I got to tell you, 11 rounds in Lake Tahoe at 6,200 feet of altitude is about 15 rounds down in your hometown. So everybody will accept that you can go the distance now.
Well, I hope so. And once again, I send the shots out to Big Oxnard area code 805, baby. We're representing La Colonia Boxing Gym, 2 world champions, baby.
Thank you very much. Back to you, Jim.
All right, so tremendous performance by young Fernando Vargas, and Roy Jones, I think, Larry's correct in saying he's made the point about he can go the distance. Now there's talk about a possible David Reed fight in in the year 2000 coming up very quickly. There's even talk about, if the Reed thing doesn't go through, maybe matching him against Ike Quartey. Is he ready for fighters that good already?
I think he most definitely is ready for fighters that good. You got to remember, he and David Reed both come from the same class, so he's probably seen David Reed in the ring a couple of times, more than we probably know about. And Ike Quartey is a very formidable opponent. He has an advantage in that Ike Quartey is coming up from 147 to 154, so Fernando Vargas should be the bigger and the stronger of the two fighters in that fight. So I think he's good enough to take on either one of those guys.
And even though he's only 21 years old, only 17 pro fights, no shortage of maturity in this performance.
No shortage at all. Sometimes when guys are brought up in gyms around great champions, or when they had the opportunity to spar with the Azuma Nelsons and the great champions like that, they learn the poise early. And some guys used to call me an old man because at a young age, I knew what I was doing. And once you learn it, once you get that experience from these older guys, then nothing can take that away from you. And that's what Fernando Vargas has.
Let's see what Raul Marquez has to say about his performance and the performance of Vargas here tonight. Raul is with Larry right now.
Thanks again, Jim. Raul, you said you wanted to find out what Vargas is all about. What is he all about?
Oh, the guy's good. He's real good. I could never catch up to him. He's very sharp. He never really hurt me with his shot. He's just a sharp shooter, you know. And really the cuts, you know, when I got cut in I think it was the first round, started bothering me a little bit, then I got cut again. But I got to give it to him. He's better than what I thought he was.
Were you surprised that after all the back and forthing and what happened at the weigh-in and all the anger, that he was able to maintain his poise and fight you according to his plan rather than your plan?
Oh, yeah, he was very smart, just like he was in the Yuri Boy Campus fight. He fought very intelligently, and that's what he did with me. He didn't get in my game plan. I tried to make him slug, but I could just never catch up to him. He would bam, 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 pop me with 2 or 3 shots, slick, very slick guy, very sharp shooter.
You're a student of the game. How good can he be? How far can he go?
Well, I think he's a real good prospect. I mean, he's real good, and he's one of the best champions out there out of the 3, out of David Reed and Javier Castello. I think he's the best one out there, definitely.
Thank you very much, Raul. Hope to see you again.
I want to say hi to my family. I'm okay, don't worry. And this will probably be my last fight, too.
Well, thank you. You've given us some honest work in there in the ring that we've all appreciated over the years.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you.
Just as final word, all of us felt a solar plexus blow today with the tragic accident involving John F. Kennedy, Jr. He was a boxing fan. We saw him last at the fight between Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield. His favorite fighters were Roy Jones and Oscar De La Hoya. He will be missed at ringside. Jim?
Well said, Larry, and entirely true. So you saw 2 terrific performances here tonight, one by David Tua and another by Fernando Vargas. We'll have a final word on what happened in the ring in just a second. Let's look ahead to some upcoming programs here on HBO.